About 2 years ago, I was playing the game Quiplash with my family. Suddenly, someone made a joke about this person, who I will call Sarah. Everyone started laughing, and soon everyone was making jokes about Sarah, even people who had no idea who she was because it was just funny. Then, not so long after it started, everyone was tired of the Sarah jokes. I remember my sister said, "Okay, if someone writes something about Sarah again, I'm not voting for it." Everyone agreed with her, and an answer that was about Sarah showed up, and it got 0 votes. This phenomenon of something suddenly becoming hilarious and everyone loving it, to everyone being completely done with it 10 minutes later, is very similar to how many video game developers try to chase the biggest trends only for them to fail. There have been many trends throughout gaming's history. Some of these trends have caught on and evolved, while many have died. During the days of the PS3, Wii, and Xbox 360, we saw the trends of motion controls, rhythm games, and first and third person shooters. Motion controls evolved into VR, and first and third person shooters are still big genres today, but rhythm games crashed and have not risen back to the same popularity they once had. A trend like rhythm games is exactly the kind of trend I am talking about when I say that in general, video game developers should not chase trends. If you look into the history of game series like Rock Band to Guitar Hero, you find that the genre started around 2005 and began to decline around 2009. In just the span of 5 years, we got 5 mainline Guitar Hero games, DJ Hero, Band Hero, and many spin-off games. Around this same time, we also got 3 mainline Rock Band games and a handful of spin-offs. Not to mention there were plenty of other rhythm games, many of which were mediocre, like Wii Music, that came out during this time. People got tired of not only needing to buy expensive peripherals, but also just got tired of the oversaturated genre. When the new line of consoles came out, no one wanted to buy new controllers and games to play what would basically be the same experience they already had. What constitutes a trend like this to me is when there are a few games that come out and start the trend, which suddenly explode and become huge. Then many other games are rushed out to join in on the trend. Soon after that, the trend becomes completely oversaturated and players lose interest. A few examples of recent trends that we have seen that followed this model are Battle Royales and live services. Battle Royales started to become huge when Fortnite and PUBG hit the scene, and Fortnite became one of the biggest games ever. While Fortnite and PUBG have remained popular, and there have been many other successful games like Call of Duty Warzone, there have also been colossal failures. The Culling was one of the first Battle Royale games and led to the popularization of the genre. The sequel, The Culling 2, was such a disaster that it had a peak of 249 players, and 2 days after launch had 2 players, not even enough to start a match. With numbers that low, they're starting to make Disney look like they had a successful year in 2023. As for live services, it's not hard to see why for a while, so many companies wanted to only make them. They can be extremely lucrative, but are in many ways predatory towards players. They ask players to play every day, grind endless achievements, and pay real money for cosmetics so they can be Thor with a different hairstyle, Iron Man with a slightly more red suit, or Banana in a tuxedo and sunglasses. What developers didn't understand is that 1. No one has time to play every live service game. 2. The endless grind in these games gets tiresome after a while. And 3. These games just seem like cash grabs and started to give players a bad taste in their mouth whenever they saw them. We have seen many live service games fall hard, like The Avengers, Anthem, and Babylon's Fall. Some of these games barely lasted a year before their server shut down, which again makes Disney look pretty good in comparison. So if chasing trends can lead to catastrophic failures, is there ever a reason to chase trends? I don't think chasing trends is necessarily a bad thing. It's simply giving more supply to something that has a high demand. I believe that chasing trends can work in places like social media. Anytime something big happens, or to tell the truth, anything happens, everyone will make a YouTube video about it. If a turtle learning to put on pants went viral, you would see thousands of YouTube videos of people reacting to it, talking about it, parodying it, etc. Chasing trends in this setting works because you can make a video about something relatively quickly, especially if you drop all the things that take a while to do, like writing a script, editing, or even one of the most difficult things, coming up with the topic in the first place. The reason why so many YouTubers will chase these trends is that there is a lot of interest in these topics at the moment. A lot of people will search for them, and it will lead to the person's channel and give them more views. It's essentially an easy way to get lots of views and engagement. So why doesn't chasing trends tend to work in game development, especially AAA game development? I think one of the biggest issues of chasing trends in gaming is time. Go back to last year when the Grimace Shake was popular. Imagine you wanted to be cool and follow the trend, so you DoorDashed one to your house. Now imagine you got it 3 years later. 3 years is a lot of time. By that time, Grimace has 2 warrants out for his arrest, McDonald's is a coffee place competing with Starbucks, and DoorDash ran out of venture capitalist money and has become a streaming service. You wouldn't care about the shake anymore. You probably wouldn't have cared if it arrived 3 months late, not to mention 3 years. Video games take such a long time to make, test, and produce that unless you wanted to scale down the production or cut a bunch of corners, which they probably will do anyways, it will take a long time to come out, and by then the trend will be long dead. The best example of this is the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game, which was supposed to come out a year ago. When gameplay trailers started to release, there was a considerable backlash once players knew that this would be the same old live service grind-a-thon with a terrible interface and collectible gear. To make matters worse, we had recently gotten 2 big superhero games that were received negatively, Gotham Knights and the Avengers. After the backlash, the team quickly pushed back the release date multiple times and took time to fix things up. Years of game development were just wasted because they wanted to chase the live service trend instead of doing something cool like they did with the Arkham games, which are still great games. If chasing trends can be risky and has led to huge losses in the past, why do developers and publishers still do it? The answer is almost always money. They see trends as something that is low risk and has potential to produce high returns. Like the Quiplash example, going with the current funny topic doesn't require much thought and can be an easy way to get a bunch of votes. The problem in both scenarios is that it is impossible to detect the point where the trend is going to die. If you keep feeding someone the same food over and over again, eventually they'll want something else. Developers and publishers seem to care too much about making a game that not only follows a trend, but has broad appeal. We have barely gotten any actual modern Marvel superhero games besides Spider-Man games. And when we do get a big AAA Avengers game, of course it is a grindy live service game that is more interested in being a storefront for skins and emotes than being a good game. There's a reason that the game is now dead, which is a shame to see for such a huge IP. But I mean, expecting anything good out of Marvel these days, or even something decent to be published by Square Enix for that matter, is very wishful thinking. Speaking of Square Enix, the head of these companies are so out of touch that the CEO of Square Enix is still trying to push Web3 and NFT projects in 2024. Maybe they should post a Harlem Shake video or an Ice Bucket Challenge video with how relevant Web3 is. It's so cringe and painful to see all these companies chasing long dead trends that no one cares about just because they are money hungry and want to take the easiest route possible. They see that someone paid millions of dollars for an NFT or that Fortnite made insane money and think that it's going to work for them too. What gamers actually want isn't some huge secret. They want good games. It doesn't have to appeal to everyone, or even be the most unique or cool concept. If a game is solid and word gets out about it, people will play it and enjoy it. If developers put heart and dedication into developing a game and make a game they actually want to make, people will feel the dedication that was put into it. Instead of chasing trends, I propose that it is better to gain inspiration from many other games, movies, etc., and use that to make something great and unique. Look at games like Undertale, Five Nights at Freddy's, Hi-Fi Rush, and Bloons Tower Defense 6. These are all popular games that are unique and well made. Just looking at Undertale, it is obvious that the game took a lot of inspiration from Earthbound, but then it became its own unique and incredible game full of a great story, amazing music, innovative mechanics, and fun characters. Make more games like this, and less games that are just trend-chasing cash grabs with no soul. Developers chasing trends and trying to play it safe doesn't work anymore. Players want to feel that developers made something that they put actual heart and soul into, because the gamers that care can tell when they don't. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like this video and leave a comment about what gaming trends you are tired of, and what trends or kind of games you would like to see make a comeback. Make sure to subscribe for more videos like this in the future. I have many plans for videos talking about games, and I also have plans to develop my own games in the future, so be sure to stick around for those things that will be coming real soon.